Hey, so in this video, we're discussing the question set matrix zeros. In this question, the simple requirement is that जब भी हमको कोई भी जीरो मिलता है कहीं पे भी, so जो रिजल्टेंट एरे जो रिजल्टेंट मैट्रिक्स होना चाहिए, उसमें जो पूरा रो होता है उस एलिमेंट का जो पूरा कॉलम होता है वो जीरो हो जाना चाहिए. Similarly, जैसे यहाँ पे जीरो मिला, then this entire row and this entire column should become zero. And as we must have guessed already, this is the resultant state that will be coming. Uh, let's discuss some approaches to solve this question. First approach can be that while traversing this entire matrix, I go ahead and मैं ये check करूँगा सबसे पहले कि I have got a 1 here and I have got a 0 here. I go ahead and immediately make this as a 0, make this as a 0, make this as a 0. But this causes a problem. Now, जब I'll be moving to this 0, how how am I sure कि ये जो 0 है ये इस जीरो के वजह से आया था एग्जिस्ट किया था या फिर ये एलिमेंट इनिशियली जीरो था एंड अगर ये इनिशियली जीरो था तो मुझे ये पूरा जो रो है एंड पूरा कॉलम है वो जीरो करना पड़ेगा बट वी नो दैट इनिशियली तो ये वन था एंड दिस इंफॉर्मेशन इज लॉस्ट सो ये अप्रोच तो हम डेफिनेटली नहीं ले सकते हैं इसके अलावा जो हम दूसरी अप्रोच हम ले सकते हैं वो ऐसे है कि I'll be iterating, I'll be traversing the entire metric, and the moment I encounter a 1, I'll be skipping that. The moment I encounter a 0, I'll be going to the entire row and the entire column and saying कि 0 के अलावा जो भी element है उसको अभी के लिए none कर दो. This will become none, this will become none, and this will become none. And then I'll be going to the next element which is none, skip it, 1, skip it, none, skip it, 1, skip it, 1, skip it, 0. 0 पे we take action. 0 पे we take the action again कि पूरे रो को एंड पूरे कॉलम में जितने भी नॉन जीरोस है उसको नन कर दो एंड दिस इज द फाइनल स्टेट दैट वी गेट एंड देन अगेन जब हम इस मैट्रिक्स को दोबारा ट्रेवर्स कर रहे होंगे when then we simply make the nuns also zero. So this will become zero, this will become zero, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. And this is the exact answer that we wanted. This is a fine approach. The only problem with this approach is that we are, of course, in the first row, we are traversing the entire matrix, which is an n into m complexity. And whenever we find a non-zero, and in worst case, everything can be zero, we'll be going to the row and the column and making everything, and basically we'll be making a decision that जो non-zeros है उनको none करना है, but we'll be going to the entire row and column, which will cost us an n plus m operations. Uh, Finally, we can see that this is an O of n cube complexity and O of one space complexity solution. And we can improve the complexity part directly, which we'll be discussing in the next solution. So let's move to that. For reducing the complexity, there is a simple approach that we can take कि हम लोग दो arrays consider करेंगे and जो ये arrays है ये will be storing कि हमको किसी row या column को zero करना है further के नहीं. So again, iterating over the entire matrix, we find a 1, do nothing. We find a 0, we tell these arrays okay, we have to make this entire column 0 later and this entire row 0 later. 1, do nothing. 1, 1, 1, and 1 again. This 0 will tell, okay, we have to make this entire column 0 again and we have to make this entire row 0 again. Rest of them are dashes. Now, again, we'll be going through the entire matrix, and the moment we come to the first value, we'll be asking a question. क्या ये एलिमेंट किसी रो या किसी कॉलम की वजह से जीरो होना चाहिए? हाँ, होना चाहिए. दिस पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू सेज सो। क्या ये जीरो को चेंज करना है? जीरो को तो स्किप भी कर सकते हैं। इस वन से हम पूछेंगे, इस वन को ये पर्टिकुलर इंडिकेटर कह रहा है कि जीरो होना चाहिए। क्या इस वन को कोई कह रहा है जीरो होने के लिए? नहीं, क्योंकि कोई भी इंडिकेटर नहीं कह रहा है। क्या इस वन को कोई कह रहा है? हाँ, ये अरे कह रही है कि यहाँ पे जीरो होना चाहिए। One, this one is not impacted by anyone. This one is impacted by this zero. Let's skip this zero. And finally, this one is impacted by this zero. The answer that we finally get is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. We did two passes of n into m. So this is O of 2 into n into m. And we took O of n space, and this was time. We can generalize it to O of n square and O of n space. Now, one thing we can surely say that the time is not improving again. Although we can improve this space. How we do that is that instead of taking two separate arrays, we will try to store this information in place inside the matrix itself. Let's take a different example altogether for this particular approach because we'll be handling a few corner cases as well. So, creating the matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 7, 8, 0, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and a 0. This is the question. Now, we'll be using this space and this space for indicating what to be made 0 in the final matrix. Now, one problem we have encountered upfront is that we had two separate indicators for the first row and the first column in our earlier approach. This first element was for the column and this was for the first row. Uh, but since यहाँ पे हमारे पास एक ही indicator है, we will use this as an indicator for first row and first column के लिए we'll take another variable. So let me revert this. Let me create two lines and we'll keep a column 0. Variable ready to be made 0. Uh, okay. So I turned through the entire matrix once again. 1, do nothing, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. Now the moment we encounter a 0 here, we can definitely say that we have to make this column 0 afterwards and row 0 afterwards. Acha, one thing. This 2 and this 5 is lost in the process, but we don't really care if it's lost because of this 0, anyways it was meant to become 0 at the end. So even if these values are lost, we don't care. 7 and an 8 and then 0. This particular 0 will be saying that make the uh, column as 0 and this particular row as 0. Now, since the row as 0 part is already indicated by this entry only, so no changes to be made here. It is already saying make this entire row 0. We'll go forward, 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 forward. We'll be reaching this 0. And we'll be updating this for a 0 and this 13. Simple. Now, the result that we get, we can note it here 0, 0, 7, 8. 0, 10, 11, 12, 0, 14, 15, and a 0. And the entire column 0 says okay. Uh, Now we will be traversing the matrix again, but not the entire matrix at first. We will be traversing this part. Why this part? Simple. Because if we directly make changes here and here, our indicators will be lost. So first let's make changes here and then we'll move to the rows and the first row and the first column. Yeah. So when we come here to this first element, we ask anybody wants to make it zero, but it is already zero, so no problem. 7, make it zero. This particular indicator says it. 8, 0, 10, 0, 11, 0, 12, 0, 14, 0, 15, this indicator sees 0, and this was a 0 altogether. Now what we have got is 1, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and column 0. We write it properly. Column 0. Now we are finally left with the choice, or I should say, we are finally left with the task to deal with this particular uh, column and this particular row. Now, what should be the order that we'll be making these updates is very important to note. अगर मैं सबसे पहले जाके रो में चेंजेस कर देता हूँ और लेट्स टेक अ स्टेप बैक, अगर मैं सबसे पहले जाके इस कॉलम में यहाँ पे चेंज कर देता हूँ ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ जीरो, आई विल बी मेकिंग इट जीरो 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 एंड जीरो है. नाउ व्हेन आई एम कमिंग एंड सेइंग कि अच्छा मुझे रो का अपडेट करना है, रो का इंडिकेटर तो यही था. रो का इंडिकेटर का क्या, अच्छा पूरे का जीरो कर दो, जीरो 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 जीरो. No, this is not the answer that we were looking for. रो का इंडिकेटर तो कभी कह ही नहीं रहा था पूरी रो को जीरो करो. बट सिंस कॉलम पहले हमने अपडेट कर दिया तो वो रो वाली इंफॉर्मेशन लॉस्ट हो गई. सिंस हमारे पास कॉलम वाली इंफॉर्मेशन एनीवेज दूसरे वेरिएबल में स्टोर रहती है, हम पहले कॉलम रो वाला काम कर सकते हैं. सो रो ने कहा कि ठीक है पूरे का जीरो नहीं करना, कॉलम ने कहा इस पूरे को जीरो कर दो, एंड वी मेड इट अ बिग जीरो. नो इशू. नाउ द रिजल्ट विल बी 0 0 3 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. If we would have made the column update first, then it would have ended us with all zeros in the entire matrix. But we made the row update first, and this saved us this 3 value, which is the correct answer. The code for this last approach is very simple. Uh, we're taking a column 0 here, although we should be declaring it later, so no problems. Uh, this entire loop goes through the metric and updates the first row and the first column for indicating what is to be made zero later on. This is the loop wherein we go in the sub matrix and we leave the first row and the first column, and हम updates करते हैं अपने sub matrix में कि हमको क्या पूरा जो elements है उनको zero कर देना है या नहीं. And we are looking at the first row and the first column for reference here. Then we make the changes to a row first on the basis of the first element in the entire matrix, and then we make the changes in the column on the basis of call zero property. This is the solution. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.